Hello, I'm Meg Salyer, and I'd like to welcome you to the Ward 6 Council program. Today I'm really happy to be joined by my friend Pat Vicklin. Pat is the Oklahoma City manager, area coordinator for a nonprofit organization called CEO, which stands for the Center for Employment Opportunities. And as many of the viewers know, I'm sure Oklahoma City is in the midst of a really robust conversation about criminal justice reform and diversion programs and opportunities to help keep people out of our jails and help build and rebuild lives.
Yep.
And CEO is a program that helps do that. So
Yeah.
Thank you for being here and sharing your knowledge and information with us. Perhaps you could start with a little bit of background on the organization itself.
Yeah, definitely, and thank you for having me. I'm glad to talk a little bit more about CEO. So yeah, the organization is a nonprofit that has been around since the 90s and started initially in New York City and recently started expanding across the country. And actually we had an office in Tulsa, opened in 2011. And that was our first office outside of New York State.
Oh my gosh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so Oklahoma was the first office outside of New York, and then we opened an office here in Oklahoma City in 2013. So just a little over 4 years ago. And as you mentioned, we work with individuals who are returning to the community from prison and jail, and we offer them an opportunity to work immediately and earn income. And so in 2013, we were operating in Tulsa, and that was the year that the storms came through the Moore area.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And during, shortly after those storms, we realized that we have a unemployed labor force here in Oklahoma City, and that would be individuals who have a felony conviction and can't find work. And so why not give them a job, pay them, but also do some work that is productive in the community to help the city of Moore get back on their feet. And so we opened our office in August of 2013 here in Oklahoma City and employed the individuals who are coming out of prison and jail on a work crew, actually 2 work crews with the city of Moore, doing all kinds of cleanup and recovery work, and kind of participated for the next several years in rebuilding homes that were destroyed by those tornadoes. So that's kind of how we started in Oklahoma City back in 2013.
Right, because Pat, not only does that provide immediate income and it provides a valuable service, but it teaches jobs. It teaches skills
Yes.
that are sadly needed or sorely needed.
Yeah, definitely, and it's the whole idea of our program is that individuals with a felony conviction or someone who has been incarcerated, when they're released, they need to have a job. Not only is the stipulation of their probation or their parole, but it's also necessary for their survival. Mm-hmm. And if someone returns to the community, and the majority of individuals who are incarcerated will return, and so when someone returns, they face many barriers, including employment, but housing and addiction and court costs and fines and fees, not having a driver's license, all of these things. And our vision and our mission is that central to this is employment. If they can have a job and they can earn income, they're going to be able to take care of themselves and take care of their families. And so when they come to CEO, they initially go through a 1-week work readiness class. And that's where we start working on some of the skills you just mentioned, where we will provide resume skill building, working on practicing their interview skills. We'll help them find interview appropriate clothing. We will role play scenarios at work that might come up that they may not have been exposed to if they haven't worked in 10 or 15 years, or if they've never worked. And once they've graduated from that class, it's 1 week long, they start working for us immediately. And they're doing projects with cities in the area that are primarily public works related, landscaping and beautification projects, streets and parks maintenance. And they're learning skills on the job that any employer is going to expect from them. Things like showing up on time, how to get along with your coworkers, how to get along with your supervisors. And they're getting to learn those things in real time with real feedback from a site supervisor who is ensuring their safety and making sure they're being productive for the day. And during the course of that time, they're also earning a daily paycheck. And so at the end of each day, they get to go home, and that is their income that they can put towards rent, or they can buy groceries for their family. And it just really helps them to get back on their feet.
It's such an interesting concept. I'm in the staffing business,
Yeah.
but I really had never thought through the importance of being paid on a daily basis like
Right.
that.
Right, and it's a nice incentive for them to come back the next day too. You know, for someone who's never had a job before, to have to wait 2 weeks for a paycheck can be challenging. And for someone coming out of prison, they have $0 to their name in many cases, and so to get even just a 1 day's worth of pay right away makes a big difference. To maybe get them through the weekend, you know, get them so they can buy a bus pass and come back to work on Monday. And so that's been a really powerful, it's had a really powerful impact on participants in transitioning successfully to the community.
You know, we've had a really positive experience with Commissioner Mon. Started a program a number of years ago called Shine, where he's working with folks that are actually still in the system,
Sure.
I think. And
Sure.
so you are kind of transitioning now to people that have just been released.
Yes. Yeah, correct. So everyone in the CEO program is on probation and parole.
Okay.
Probation or parole. So they have been to prison or jail and they've been released, and many of them are living with family members. Some are in transitional living homes like Oxford House, or some of them are homeless. And again, you know, it just speaks to the barriers that they face when they do return from jail and prison. And so, you know, working on the crew helps them to get back on their feet quickly while we actually help them to find a full-time job. So that would be kind of the second half of the program, is connecting them. You know, once someone has proven that they're ready for a full-time job, they're showing up every day at work, they have kind of mastered the interview, they show up for, you know, appointment days and interviews on time. Once they've proven that, then we refer them to a full-time employer where they can obviously earn more income and work better hours, and hopefully that leads them on a path to stability for them and their families. And we remain in contact with them for up to 12 months to help them keep that job, because we know that it can be difficult finding a job, and sometimes it can be equally as challenging to keep one. And
Great.
and so
have
yeah.
you got case managers within your own organization, or do you partner with some of our other agencies?
Yeah,
Or
so
both? The answer may be yes.
both, yeah. We have job coaches and job developers within CEO, and so our organization is really hyper focused on employment, and so that's our specialty. We know that's what we're good at. We know that by connecting individuals to jobs, we can reduce recidivism, and so our job coaches help participants to overcome some of the barriers they're facing to finding a full-time job. So maybe working with them on childcare or helping them to get their driver's license, things like that, while our job developers are out in the community networking with employers to set up full-time job opportunities for our participants once they've proven themselves on our work crew, and we can move them into that. And the second half of that would be, yes, we work with a number of different agencies in the community to provide all of the additional services that our participants need. So we can refer them to the Homeless Alliance or to Hope Community Services, other providers that specialize in mental health and substance abuse and housing, and it just kind of helps us to address some of those barriers externally as well.
All of those agencies are folks that we partner with at the City of Oklahoma City as well. I chair the Social Services Committee, and whether it's Hope or North Care or the Homeless Alliance or, you know, City Rescue Mission, City Care, you can go down that long list. We have such a robust and generous community in helping folks transition into, you know, what we hope are productive lives with their families and being able to provide. But there's been, I think, a real paradigm shift in the way this community is looking at some of this programming. And on the women's side, we've got Remerge, which is a very similar concept. Women go through a little bit longer of a process, I think 14 to 16 months of everything from, you know, assistance with addiction issues to training and life skills and getting their GEDs. And but I think 91 women and over 260 children have been impacted in the short time that Remerge has been available. And those are all people that could have ended up in jail.
Exactly.
And instead, you know, end up as productive citizens.
Yeah, and it's just like you said, I think people in the community are realizing that we as a community are living next door to individuals who may have gotten into trouble or made a mistake, and they're behind us in the grocery store. And we've all had some story, some connection to somebody who's experienced life in the criminal justice system. And so as we have such a population that has lived that, it's important to make sure that we are trying to help them, take care of themselves and be productive in the community. And Remerge is actually a program that we've started working with, and so some of their women have been able to come through our program and work on our transitional jobs crew while we try to find them a full-time job. So that's been really exciting because, as you know, the female incarceration rate in Oklahoma is the highest in the nation.
Right. Which is absolutely unacceptable
Yeah.
for a community that can do everything else we can do. That's just
Exactly. So it's been great to see the community's response to this issue in particular, and really helping our neighbors and helping folks that are disadvantaged in this way to really get back on their feet, to bounce back.
Well, I think it took a group of community leaders, and we need to shout out to Clay Bennett for really taking on a giant leadership role in this, Roy Williams at our chamber, city manager, police chief, city. I mean, the list is very long of those that are committed to making sure that Oklahoma City is a leader
Yes.
in this important subject of criminal justice reform. We're top on the list of so many things,
Yeah.
and they're top on the list of things where we don't want to be.
Right.
And this looks like an opportunity to begin to make some really significant systemic changes
Definitely.
in people's lives.
Yeah, and that's why I'm so excited about the partnership that we have with the city of Oklahoma City, because again, speaking to those leaders who have recognized that something needs to be done that changes the way our system works. And I think CEO's goal is to break that cycle of incarceration and poverty. And so for us to have a work crew that partners with the city of Oklahoma City now, it allows us, it's kind of a win-win for the city, right? We've got that work crew out there doing beautification projects and making their own neighborhoods look nicer and helping the city accomplish things that may otherwise go uncompleted.
I was super happy to hear you
Yeah.
were working in my old neighborhood, Edgemere.
Yeah, I was actually just over there yesterday. We were doing the same thing, and so it's it's great to see in our community in Oklahoma City the work crew out there getting those projects done, and at the same time, they now have income. The participants in the program now have income, and they can spend that in the community, and they're paying taxes, and it just allows them to move forward in their lives and put the past
And have a
behind
sense
them.
of pride about making a commitment back to their own community, which
Yes.
I think, when you wrap it all up, is just so important.
Absolutely,
So,
it's huge to take that with them.
thank you for working with us. We're really delighted to have this partnership with the city. We look forward to seeing great successes, and hope we can, find a way perhaps to, expand into a couple more work crews. But
Definitely, yeah,
thank
thank
you
you.
for your help, and thank you for the connections that you've made to sort of bring all these agencies together. So
Absolutely.
very grateful for you being here.
Well,
Thanks,
thank
Pat,
you
so
very
much.
much.